Welcome to Experiments in Happiness with Michelle Lemus, the podcast for high achieving women who've checked all the boxes but still feel something's missing.
If you're the strong one, people don't usually ask how you're doing. They ask how things are going. They ask what the plan is. They ask what you think should happen next. They assume you're fine, not in a careless way, in a respectful way. Because strength, when it's consistent, becomes invisible. You've always handled it. You've always figured it out. You've always landed on your feet. So people stop checking for cracks. And at first, that feels good. It feels good to be trusted, to be seen as capable, to be the one people count on when things wobble. You like knowing you can handle hard things. You like knowing you won't fall apart under pressure. You like knowing that if everything went sideways, you'd still stand. Strength becomes part of how you understand yourself. I'm the one who keeps it together. I'm the reliable one. I'm the calm one in chaos. And for a long time, that identity works. Until one day you notice something quietly unsettling. No one is asking how you are anymore. Not because they don't care, but because they genuinely believe you don't need to be asked. That belief didn't come from nowhere. It was taught. Most people don't wake up one day and decide to be the strong one. That role gets assigned early, often before you're even aware it's happening. You become strong because someone else couldn't be, because emotions weren't welcome, because instability needed managing, because expressing need felt unsafe, inconvenient, or pointless. So you adapted. You learned to stay composed. You learned to downplay your feelings. You learned to solve problems instead of sit in them. You learned that being useful kept things moving, that being capable earned approval, that being steady made life easier for everyone. Strength wasn't a personality trait, it was a strategy, and it worked. It helped you survive things that might have overwhelmed someone else. It helped you build a life that functions. It helped you earn trust, respect, and responsibility. But survival strategies have a shelf life. And no one tells you what happens when the season that required strength ends, but the identity doesn't. What happens is subtle. You don't suddenly fall apart. You just start to feel tired in a deeper way. Not, I need a nap, tired, more like I'm tired of holding everything, tired. You notice that people come to you with their stress, but don't make space for yours. You notice that you listen deeply, but aren't often listened to in return. You notice that you're surrounded by people and still feel alone with certain things. And then comes the guilt because you chose this role, right? Except you didn't. You learned it. And once it becomes an identity, stepping out of it feels risky. If I stop being strong, what happens? Who will I be? Who will still respect me? Who will step up? Or will everything fall apart? There's a fear underneath strength that we rarely name. If I stop holding everything together, no one else will. That fear isn't dramatic, it's learned. And it's the reason so many strong women don't ask for help, not because they don't want support, but because they don't trust it will actually come, or come without cost, or come without changing how they're seen. So instead, you keep going, you tell yourself, I can handle it. Others need me more. It's easier if I just do it myself. But here's the quiet cost no one warns you about. Being the strong one often means being emotionally unattended, not neglected in obvious ways, neglected in subtle, cumulative ways. No one notices when you're running on fumes because you don't look like you are. No one offers to take things off your plate because you've always managed. No one steps in because you've never stepped back. Strength teaches people how to treat you, and sometimes it teaches them not to worry, which is where loneliness creeps in. Not the loneliness of isolation, the loneliness of containment, of holding so much inside because there's no obvious place to put it. You start to feel resentment you don't like admitting, a longing to be cared for that feels childish or unfair, a wish that someone would notice without you having to ask. And then you shame yourself for having that wish. because strong people aren't supposed to need that, except they do, because strength without support becomes strain. And strain doesn't just disappear, it shows up in the body, in irritability, in exhaustion, in the sense that you're giving more than you're receiving, emotionally, relationally, energetically. And here's the part that matters most. You don't lose strength when you stop overfunctioning. You lose armor, and armor is heavy. But taking it off feels terrifying because armor isn't just protection, it's identity. Who are you if you're not the one who has it together? Who are you if you don't smooth things over? If you don't manage everyone else's feelings? If you don't show up composed and capable every time? Letting go of that role doesn't happen all at once. It starts with small, uncomfortable experiments, like saying, I'm actually not okay, and not rushing to minimize it, like asking for help before you're at your breaking point, like letting someone see you think out loud instead of presenting the solution. And when you do this, something interesting happens. Discomfort shows up first. A voice that says, I shouldn't need this. This is awkward. I should take this back. That voice isn't truth. It's habit. It's the old contract talking. The one that says, I'll be strong so things don't fall apart. But strength was never meant to be a solo act. Real strength includes discernment. It includes knowing when to carry and when to set things down. It includes allowing support without turning it into a transaction. And no, you don't lose respect when you soften. You often gain connection. Because when you stop performing resilience, people finally see you. Not the role, not the function, the human. Being the strong one may have gotten you here. It helped you survive. It helped you build. It helped you become capable and grounded and trustworthy. But it doesn't have to be the role you keep playing forever. You're allowed to be supported. You're allowed to rest without collapse. You're allowed to need things without apology. Strength doesn't disappear when you stop carrying everything alone. It becomes sustainable. And if you've been holding the weight quietly for a long time, hear this. You are not failing by wanting support. You are not weak for needing care. You are not losing yourself by letting go of the armor. You're finally letting yourself be held. And you don't have to carry it all by yourself anymore. Not because you can't, but because you don't have to.
Thanks for listening to Experiments in Happiness. You can find more tools and resources at experimentsinhappiness.com.